We've just released a new firmware update for the Nitro Deck with some quality of life changes as well as some feature updates. You can now adjust your thumbstick's dead zones, change your trigger actuation points, adjust your rumble strength, and a change has been made to how you enter wired mode to prevent accidental mode changes. If you purchased a Crystal Collection Nitro Deck, they come standard with this firmware, but if not, you'll need to update your Nitro Deck, and we'll show you how to do that at the end of the video. Let's first talk about the quality of life changes, and then I'll show you how to use each feature. First off, we improved the accuracy of our motion controls so they work more naturally when moving both horizontally and vertically. We had also received some feedback from you guys that the LED was too bright, so we lowered the standard LED brightness. There's also some bugs that we fixed, so the overall stability of the Nitro Deck has been improved. Okay, now let's move on to the feature updates. We'll start with the simplest change. We got some feedback that a lot of you guys were accidentally going into wired mode, so we changed the button combination that allows you to go into wired mode. To enter and exit wired mode, you'll still have to hold down the two thumbsticks like you did previously, but now you'll also have to hold down the plus button as well. Hold down all three of these buttons to both enter and exit wired mode. Your LED will still show orange to let you know when you're in wired mode and show white to let you know when you're back in handheld mode. Moving on to the next new customization feature, you now have the ability to change your trigger's actuation points. The switch recognizes the trigger inputs just like any other button input, so they're either being pushed or not being pushed. Since the Nitro Deck's triggers use Hall sensor technology, this allows us to adjust the actuation point, which simply means that you can change the distance that you have to push the trigger down before the trigger fires. Out of the box, the Nitro Deck is set to the smallest actuation point, which means that you have to push the trigger the smallest distance before the trigger fires. To adjust your trigger actuation point, press and hold the ZL and the plus button for 3 seconds. The home button LED will flash cyan when done correctly. While the home button is flashing cyan, use the plus button to increase the distance you'll need to push the trigger for it to register as an input, and use the minus button to decrease the distance. Your Nitro Deck will vibrate 1, 2, or 3 times to give you feedback on which distance you're choosing. The more vibrations, the more you'll have to push your trigger down before it registers as an input. Once you find the setting that you want, just don't press any inputs for 5 seconds, and your home LED will turn back from cyan to white, and it will save your settings. Moving on to the next feature, we're now going to talk about no Deadzone mode. This mode will completely turn off the dead zones for your thumbsticks. If you're using this mode, we highly recommend that when you enter it, you go into your switch settings and calibrate your thumbsticks. This will help give you guys the best experience. If you want to enter the no Deadzone mode, just hold ZL and the capture button for 3 seconds. The home button will change to blue and then return to white after 8 seconds, successfully putting you into no Deadzone mode. When you want to leave no Deadzone mode, just do the same thing. Hold down the ZL and the capture button for 3 seconds, and the LED will again turn blue and then back to white after 8 seconds. Again, we highly recommend if you're using no Deadzone mode to go into your switch settings and recalibrate your thumbsticks. Okay, let's talk about rumble strength. The first thing you want to make note of is that the Nitro Deck has both a left rumble motor and a right rumble motor. You now have control of the strength of these motors individually. To adjust the left rumble motor, hold L and the plus button for 3 seconds. And to adjust the right rumble motor, hold R and the plus button for 3 seconds. Once you've done either of these inputs, your cracked LED should start flashing red. Use the plus button to increase strength and the minus button to decrease strength. There are going to be 6 strengths to choose from, and the differences are pretty subtle, but if you choose the lowest one, your rumble is going to be disabled completely. Once you've decided on the strength that you want, just don't press any inputs for 5 seconds, and your LED will turn from red back to white and save your rumble settings. Now that we've talked about both the quality of life changes and the features, let's walk through how you can actually update your Nitro Deck. To update your Nitro Deck, you'll need a Windows PC. On your PC, head to cracked.gg/firmware and find the latest version and download it. Once downloaded, go ahead and open up the exe file. When you have that opened, you can now connect your Nitro Deck to your PC by plugging a USB-C into the output port on the deck and connecting the other side of the cable to your PC. After you've connected your Nitro Deck to your PC, simultaneously hold down the cracked home button, the X button, and the Y button for 3 seconds. This will put your deck into update mode. If you've done this correctly, the firmware should recognize your Nitro Deck and will display connected as the device status. Now you can press the update button and the Nitro Deck will begin updating. Don't disconnect your Nitro Deck from your PC while it's updating, or you could permanently damage your Nitro Deck. Once the device status says updated, your Nitro Deck has been successfully updated and you can disconnect the USB from your Nitro Deck and PC. We hope you guys enjoy this new firmware and we hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for being part of the Cracked family.